Let's call the meeting to order. First, thank you everybody for coming so we can keep this moving along. We'll try to keep it moving at a good pace today. Rita, would you do a roll call, including Malcolm was called in by phone?
Right. Mr. Doherty.
Here.
Mr. Roach.
Here.
Mr. Murphy.
Here.
And Chairman Smith.
Here. Thank you, Rita. You received in advance copies of the minutes of our special meeting. They're quite long, and I hope you've had a chance to read them. Does anybody have any comments, corrections, suggestions, or changes to them?
No.
If not, can I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the previous minutes. Second.
Moved and seconded. Rita?
Mr. Doherty.
Yes.
Mr. Roach.
Yes.
Mr. Murphy.
Yes.
Chairman Smith.
Yes. Thank you. Does anybody have any changes, additions, withdrawals, deferrals, etc. to the agenda items?
No.
We have none.
If not, then again, we announce every meeting our future meeting dates. If you think you're not, or know you're not going to be able to attend any of those meetings, please let Rita know as soon as possible. We will now begin the public part of the meeting. First, is there any declaration of ex parte communication? None?
No.
Malcolm, no? Rita, would you
No.
administer the oath to anyone who's going to speak today?
Anyone who thinks they're going to speak, please raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you. We're ready for whoever is going to speak on behalf of Harold Smith.
And, Mr. Chairman, if I
Yes.
could
Sure.
ask the
Certainly.
applicant, we'll be making three motions today. One would be on a demolition permit, two would be on the North Ocean overlay permit, and then the third one is a level 2 architectural site plan. If you can, as much as you can, and I know you have a certain order up here, but it would maybe help us if you could first discuss the things that would be included in the demolition. And then the North Ocean overlay, which is altering the driveway and adding additional landscaping. If you can, if it's not possible to do that, then that's okay, we'll figure it out. And then the level 2 architectural site plan is the addition of the pergola, and an elevator, and the other renovations to the house and the pool. If you can, but, yeah, that's.
Is this on?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. For the record, my name is Harold Smith, with Smith & Moore Architects. I'm here today with Chris Simon of Navarro Williams Design, the landscape architects for the project. And we're representing Mr. and Mrs. William Oberdorf, the owners of 3435 North Ocean Boulevard, which is an existing two-story single-family oceanfront residence. Now, my firm, Smith & Moore Architects, is the local consultant for Ferguson Shamamian Architects in New York. I'm here today pinch hitting for Jason Bivens, who would have been here to do this presentation, except for his concerns over travel at this time. We'll just go through the presentation, and I can point to those items that deal with demolition. First of all, for orientation purposes, and I just received this rendering last night, so I brought it to put up on the easel. Please take a look at the rendering of the proposed project. And this is an aerial view looking toward the southeast. You'll see North Ocean Boulevard in the foreground and the Atlantic Ocean beyond. The majority of our work will take place on the north elevation entry facade and around and in the pool area. Now, I don't have a pointer here, but I do. Is it in? Oh, okay.
Can you see it?
I can see it. Yeah, I can see it. Okay.
Oh, that does help.
Okay.
Can you?
Yeah.
I presume is this red button the pointer, or?
Yeah, it's over
Okay.
there.
All right. It's not in perfectly. Again, North Ocean Boulevard is down here. The ocean is in the background. there's one driveway onto the property, which is existing and will remain. As we enter, we can turn right to go into the lower garage area, or continue due east, up the dune, and into the parking court, which faces the north elevation that I mentioned. Now, the pool area is back in this area. And Chris will tell you a little bit more about that pool area and the plantings along North Ocean. The photos up above, the upper left and upper right photos are the driveway upon entry into the property. The photo on the left is the driveway that heads up to the east to the motor court, which is on the lower two photographs. And the upper right driveway is the driveway that heads off to the right to the garage. Working our way around the house counterclockwise at the west elevation first. This is the garage on the upper left. And then continuing to the south, between the pool area, which would be on the left in the lower left photograph, and North Ocean, which is on the right, we come around the building and the property to the south edge of the property where there's a pool house. It's 2 stories. We'll be talking about that as we go through the elevations and floor plans. As we ascend up some stairs to the pool area of the house, Chris will be talking about the hardscape and landscape features here, and I'll be telling you a little bit about alterations to the pool house, bottom left, alterations to the main house loggia, and the removal of, as part of the demolition, this colonnade in the upper right photo that connects the pool house on the right to the main house on the left. You can see the pool currently has kind of an organic shape, and we plan to change that. Working our way around to the ocean facade, the upper left photo shows that colonnade that connects the main house to the guest house, or to the pool house, and the other photos are of the east facade, which will not change at all. Okay. I was certain it was operator error. Okay. All right. These are photos of adjacent properties. The upper left photo is the house is under construction directly to the north. The upper right photo is the subject property, the streetscape along North Ocean, and the 2 photos at the bottom are a fairly newly constructed house directly to the south of our property. These are properties directly across North Ocean. There are a couple of smaller scale 2-story homes, and then our driveway is directly across from the Gulfstream School. I think we have another rendering of this, but this is the proposed north facade of the house, which is the main entry. That doesn't look so great, does it? My apologies for the quality of what you're seeing on the screen.
We have.
Oh, you have comments? Okay, all right.
If you could reference the page number that we're to be looking at, it would
Right.
help.
If my vision were better, I could do that from here.
1A 200 100 possibly, looking at
Yes,
the north
the
elevation.
north elevation. Let's start there. And I'd like to quote Mr. Bibbins, the design architect on this. The following drawings illustrate a proposal to enhance the architectural language of the existing house by improving the massing with the addition of a symmetrical main entry and the creation of a defined exterior space around a new pool and terrace. So these are elevations of the north side of the house that you see on the screen here. The north elevation main house proposed, which is the upper longer elevation on this page. He says the goal here is to simplify the massing to unify the main facade. Now this is done by modification of the roof framing at the north elevation and adding a single porch centered about the existing front door. The porch is composed of square and round cast stone columns, a stucco entablature, and a decorative metal and stucco parapet. Now on the pool elevations, which are the smaller elevations of the two, pool house, excuse me, these are the north elevations of that pool house. Again, we are simplifying the massing and removing the existing colonnade connecting the main house and pool house. So that colonnade we saw in the photographs is to disappear. We are enhancing the architectural language to relate similarly to the north elevation by adding a stucco parapet onto the pool house. You can see that in the uppermost elevation. We'll go to the west elevation, which should be the next page. We're again simplifying the massing to unify the facades. We're de-emphasizing the northern wing by removing the two-story projection of the kitchen. There's a very tall, awkward window on that kitchen on the left side of the lower elevation, and we're removing that. The architectural language is updated and relates to the entry facade by the addition of the parapet at the main loggia. So in that upper elevation on your drawing, you should see a new parapet at the main loggia, which should be toward the right side of the drawing. Moving to the south elevation, we're proposing a freestanding wood pergola outside the kitchen area. It's to the west of the kitchen area, to create an outdoor dining area. And then on the next page, which should be the east elevation, again, we're removing that colonnade between the main house and the pool house. Now we have had some discussion with Rita about one additional item that we would like you to consider, and that is at the pool house. There's a note on here with a hidden line that says we would like to reshape the south end of the roof of the pool house and continue the parapet around. We believe that would reduce the apparent mass from the adjacent property. Currently, there's just a vertical wall on the south property line that goes up to the peak of the roof, and we feel that would soften the look of the roof of that pool house. So if you consider that, we would appreciate it.
Well, you're right there, so the
Yes.
south side of the pool house, it shows there's no windows, nothing, it's just a flat wall.
It's a flat wall.
And it's 2 stories tall, or partially 2 stories
2
tall.
stories, and that flat wall continues up to the peak of the roof
Okay.
along that same plane. We can move to the floor plans. The working floor plan is fairly simple. This is the basement level where we're just closing in a few openings. And as we move to the main level of the house, we're aligning, building out some areas on the north side of the house to create a simple plane and to also help simplify the roof lines. And that's at the main entry. Doesn't do too well on the screen. And then I'm not even sure what this floor plan is, and I apologize for that.
A102
Maybe 102.
Yeah.
is the roof line.
Oh, the roof plan, okay. All right, well, you can see that, I believe the hatched areas on your drawing, the shaded areas, are the reconfigured roof. So I believe that concludes the architectural portion of the presentation. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
What's the current roof comprised of, roof material?
Oh, it is, and I was just thinking about that. It's a flat tile, concrete tile, with a gray, with a little bit of blue tint in it. We'll be matching that. Yeah, not changing that. We don't plan to change the colors of the house. The railing you see at the top of the parapet above the entry is a Chippendale railing. We picked up on similar railings, or basically the same railing on other parts of the house. So we believe we're being consistent with the architecture of the house, but just enhancing the vocabulary.
Anybody have any questions?
Really young.
Bob?
I thought you mentioned, you were gonna talk about
Malcolm,
the pool area.
I'd like Chris to talk about that.
Oh, okay, I didn't mean to jump
Well,
into the.
before Chris jumps up, I have questions about
Yes.
the pool house. I certainly would think it'd be great to change that roof line to that thing as opposed to that flat roof on the south side. How did it ever happen that that building was able to be built right on the property line? Does anybody know the history of it? Rita may know.
Yes, that was originally one very large piece of property. And the buildings that you see there now was built when it was a large piece. Somebody down the way decided to cut it into and sell off one end of the property. And that's how the roof got, or how we got a flat side there, because it's only inches from the property line. So that's a non-conforming building, but of course you can add to a non-conforming wall. So changing that roof wouldn't matter, that it's.
It would be an allowable change to
Yes.
change the roof?
Correct.
Okay. Is the entablature and also the fenestration above it all within our code height-wise? Remember, we had some issues on entryways where we didn't want glamorous, this doesn't have it incidentally, but we don't want, a palace kind of entranceway. It looks really, really well done, but they all within the height restrictions that they need to be?
Yes.
Okay. What do we think do we think we should ask him to change that roof on that? I mean, I think it would help for sure instead of just a flat roof if you're gonna just do a peak roof, right?
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely, yeah. It would be sloping on all four sides, right, and just the three
Oh,
sides.
absolutely.
Yeah, great.
I think it would be
And we
much
would
better.
continue that low parapet around the backside
Around
as
the
well,
three sides.
to capture rainwater so we don't dump any
East,
water.
south, and north side, east.
Yes.
It's
Okay.
just
Just the one?
the one, I think. It's been here for a long time.
Okay.
This is a different,
Chris, you're up.
a different view, but that's that, you already have it in your packages, the printouts, but this at least illustrates the colors used on the house and the type of house style, that style of roof. Okay. Good morning, Chris Simon, with the Barrow Williams Landscape Architects, out of Palm Beach, Florida. I'm gonna attempt to take a look, is this left or right? Slides? Okay, so here we can start at the pool area. As you noticed in the previous photos, the existing conditions of the pool terrace and pool itself, it has a very dated style and layout, flow to the area, almost, if you will, Grecian or Roman in a sense. So the thought is to enhance this by bringing it a little bit, the overall design to more in the same flavor as current designs and styles, using newer materials, pool finishes, pool styles, architectural flow, and just enhance the overall space and somewhat reduce the overall paved area, the paved surface. The pool will be relatively similar in length and width, so volume potentially around the same. You'll see at the far end of the pool is a pergola that has been designed by Ferguson Shimamian. Is the covered, quote unquote covered, it's actually a pergola, so there is actually no roof on top of the pergola, but this is a dining area or dining pavilion with a new grill and countertop and minimal outdoor kitchen. I don't think there's any plumbing out on the outside. There's countertops and grills directly behind. The wall to the rear of the pergola is where that grill will be mounted, right outside the kitchen. That wall will continue around the north to the west sides of the pool and tying into the pool cabana. We are trying to give a little bit of height to that wall so that we can help soften the vehicular noise from A1A to the west. We will incorporate, propose to incorporate a water feature on the pool terrace side as well to help mitigate some of that sound. The wall itself will be planted on the interior with a mix of landscape textures, heights, different colors, vines, textures, to help soften the appearance of the wall. You can see in this rendered site plan on the lower left of the rendering itself, left side of the pool, all of the foliage to the left side. The layout of the pool is again reduced paved area with stairwells leading down towards the lower west yard. I'm just going to go through a couple of different angles. Again, these are all proposed views. Yes.
Is the current wall kind of the one that looks like a double dotted line that's curved layout? Is that?
That is correct.
Okay.
With it completely to be removed.
Okay.
So as far as
And then you're gonna have a north-south wall on the west side of the pool.
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Everything's running parallel to the house itself.
Okay.
Not parallel to A1A,
The
but
square
parallel
to
to
the
the house,
house.
square to the house itself.
Fair enough.
Yes. So if we want to go back to the points about the different items, let's say on the demo application, let's say the entire pool deck and the covered walk to the pool cabana to be removed, and consecutive landscape that is surrounding those areas to allow for the new landscape to be installed. No demo along the north side. It will really be just enhancements to the existing landscape. On the northeast portion of the driveway, there is minimal proposed removal of sea grape trees, which will be mitigated into the landscape, because we'll have to work with DEP on that, so that'll all be mitigated. Just to allow for additional parking up at the top, because just for overflow or maybe service vehicles that might be there on the regular basis, so we don't have to tie up the parking court. Other than that, not a lot of demolition. The east side, east terrace, would just be resurfaced. I think right now it's a cast stone or a concrete finish to be resurfaced with a natural stone to match and flow around to the pool terrace itself. So all natural stone as the proposed materials for flat work and hardscape. We do have a small spa on the south side of the house with a slight rivulet, again landscaped. So it'll be the spa included with a water feature as well, landscaped front and back to be softened and enhance the buffer that is existing on the south side to help maintain a great level of privacy to both properties. I think that's really the main items. If there's anything I can answer questions, or if there's anything you'd like to review further.
Is the patio east of the great room, or whatever it may be referred to, that's already there? It would be, it wraps around from the pool, the walkway does, around a great room of some sort, and there's a big flat patio. Is that already there?
On the east side of the house, I'm gonna go back to the site rendering just because it might be easier for us to, just to take a look at that. But yes, all existing patios and terraces on the east side of the house are not to be touched and just resurfaced with material.
Okay, and tell me a little bit more about the spa you referenced. That's gonna be just east of the current pool house?
Yes, of the pool cabana itself. Right now, there is a well-worn synthetic turf putting green in the area that is dilapidated and needs to be, not to assume that we're completely removing there may be a putting green brought back in the future, but initially it would be to kind of repurpose that space and to tie in the spa. You'll see it's kind of centered off of the loggia as well as the pool cabana to give enhanced views. And again, it'll be a raised spa. I believe, if memory serves me correctly, we're going to be about to the top of the coping of the spa. There'll probably be about a 3.5 foot difference between the walkway and the top of the coping itself. The walkway to the north, because what we're anticipating is a raised spa with a couple of steps that allow for a 2 levels of water dropping within the rivulet itself. So we'll have an overflow out of the spa into the rivulet and another overflow into the pool end closer to the house itself. So the concept of the raised spa is not necessary for the spa itself, but it allows us to develop an interesting water feature as part of it.
Malcolm, any questions?
Yeah, you mentioned the high degree of privacy, which is, apparent. Rita, has there been any comments from neighbours?
No comments whatsoever.
Okay, just so we have it on the record. But obviously there's a very high degree of privacy here.
Well, we've got a really ample buffer on the north side, and
Yeah.
really a pretty good buffer on the south side, except for the pool house. But incidentally, I keep dwelling on the pool house because it drives me crazy. Are you going to put light windows in it on the south side? Okay, they're going to come out. It's still going to stay a flat, except the roof's going to change.
That's correct.
Okay. Curtis, any questions?
No.
Bob?
Now, are those real windows on the south side, or are they faux windows?
Of the pool
On
cabana?
the pool house?
Yeah, it looks like there's some windows in this sketch.
Right, I think there are, because there are restrooms, I want to say, or maybe it's centrally located, but my understanding, and Harold can elaborate a bit more, but my understanding of the pool cabana itself is to not really touch the exterior other than the reduction of the roof line on the south side, but more of a new treatment on the interior walls. So they're kind of
There are a
removing-
couple windows, yeah.
Right, I think the chairman was,
Yeah, I
Yeah,
saw the
I see
windows,
that now.
Right, on the, that's
So
the,
they-
but I wasn't sure whether it was
South
real
side, that's
or
south side.
faux.
so there's
I
2
mean,
windows.
But that's
on the
not
south side?
to
right,
No.
impact
That
the
wasn't
people
really-
to the south.
yeah, but I don't, yeah.
Well, No, I mean,
Yes, go ahead.
I think they've confirmed that there are proposed 2 windows.
Okay.
And-
There's a back.
And I don't think you have an issue with that, or?
No, actually.
He actually likes it.
No, I think it looks.
Yeah, I think it
better.
looks better.
Okay, yeah, no, all right.
Breaks it up.
Any other comments or questions? Town manager, legal counsel? No?
Nothing.
Incidentally, it looks fantastic. It's a beautiful,
Yeah.
it's a beautiful home, and it's really lovely. I think all the changes are terrific improvements. We have some potential motions to make, if we're ready to.
Tom, can I make a suggestion
Sure.
before we go into the motions? And I've seen them in order. Can I just say that whoever speaks to the third motion, the point where it says various renovations to the house, could we qualify that as presented? It's just, various, we're not giving carte blanche. They're amazing, augmentations to house. But what's the thoughts where it just says various renovations? Can we just be, precise as presented?
Sure, I think the language as presented in the presentation, would
Yeah.
that not
Yeah.
suffice?
Yeah, that would.
Yes,
Yeah, we can add that.
yeah, it's,
Good,
I'm with you
good
now.
suggestion,
Okay. Malcolm, we can hear you really well. You wanna,
Okay, then, here
take
you go.
the roll on here? Would you begin to make some motions?
Yes, I will. Okay. I would like to make a motion to approve a demolition permit to demolish an existing breezeway, certain areas of the pool, and terrace area of the roof of the existing pool house.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. Rita?
Mr. Dougherty?
Yes.
Mr. Roach?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Chairman Smith?
Yes.
And a further motion to approve a North Ocean overlay permit to alter the driveway and add additional landscaping.
I'll second that.
Mr. Dougherty?
Yes.
Mr. Roach?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
And finally, a motion to approve a level 2 architectural site plan based on a finding that the proposed addition of a pergola and an elevator, various renovations as presented in the presentation to the house. I'll start again. Motion to approve a level 2 architectural site plan based on the finding that the proposed addition of a pergola and elevator and various renovations to the house as presented in the presentation and the variation to the roof on the pool house meet the minimum intent of the design manual and applicable review standards with the following conditions. 1. Any minor modifications in the approved landscaping should be submitted to the town manager for review and approval, and any major modifications should be brought back to the ARPB for review and approval prior to the commencement of landscaping.
And I'll second that.
Any discussion? We can embellish that language a little on where it says various.
Yeah.
Rita?
Mr. Dougherty?
Yes.
Mr. Roach?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Chairman Smith?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are there any items that need to come before the board from staff?
No, sir, not really related to zoning issues. I would just like to bring you up to speed on the status of town hall and how we're dealing, with the virus. Let's see, I think this morning will mark our 18th conference call with 39 other cities, Palm Beach County, the Health Department, and the Emergency Operations Center, and then the sheriff and anybody that joins along that needs to be there. And so this is a very fluid event, but to capsulize this, orders are coming down. Okay, so the 3 counties that have been identified as the kind of ground zero for the state of Florida are Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach County. But the orders for how to operate by these three counties have kind of just moved up from Miami-Dade. So Miami-Dade was the first to come down with, orders that would further define what essential businesses are or non-essential. Broward County came next. Palm Beach County has admittedly been trying to keep from doing that and almost leaving the language a little, very vague. And so what's happened is the cities, towns and cities in Palm Beach County have begun to implement their own, and so that has caused a little friction in some of our emergency operation meetings, conferences. But because we got this down in hurricanes, we all like to work together. I mean, we set curfews at the same hours and all those kinds of things that we do during hurricanes. But this is new. So this is a training exercise for the next one. And so we're kind of learning on the fly. And but it's working out. In an hour here, we're going to be meeting again and discussing the Palm Beach County emergency orders that we just got this morning. And it's going to raise a lot of questions. One of the biggest, or one of the best examples is the beaches are closed. Okay, so, what about private beaches and public beaches? So that's been the question that we've had to deal with from folks, and every time it's brought up, the county has said we are making no distinctions between public and private beaches. Sheriff's Department is not making any distinction in terms of how they enforce it, and that's been repeated a number of times. So I think we get it, and so towns and cities enforce it the way they believe they should enforce it, while honoring the order that came down from the governor. So if you understand, what I'm saying there. I guess, let's see, now this order, I think, now includes public golf courses and so Palm Beach County has now tried to distinguish what are non-essential and essential businesses. As far as us here at Town Hall, we are closed to the public for face-to-face contact. We are dealing with people, by emails, by telephonic, by the telephone. And, I mean, there are some meetings that Rita and I have to make with, for instance, with Mark Marsh. And so we're gonna learn as we go, and we may have to actually, set up a table out there on, under the back, in one of the bay areas of the Public Works building in the back. It's open air, and, just put a couple of chairs in there and practice the social distancing. So that's where we are. I mean, next week we may be doing some shift work with employees. Basically, all towns and cities in Palm Beach County are at the point that we are. And so we're trying to, maintain a continuity of government as best we can, and we'll do that throughout this. Now, whether that means some people are working at home, which we have the ability to do that with, some of the essential people. I mean, Rebecca, she's CFO. She can completely do all of her work from home. So a lot of new things. I mean, we've got a commission meeting coming up in April 9th. We're exploring ways to do that, a virtual meeting, as are all the towns and cities. Boca's they're going all virtual. And so we're exploring the way we're set up and whether we can do that or not. And Trey's, concerned about, public records, if we go that way. So there's a lot of things that we have to think about in managing the government during something like this. But if you have any again, I mean, you got, we're still open to the public, you can call the town hall, and, you know, we're here to, you know, to help you out. So,
It's my understanding that we will have an application for the ARPB next month, is that
Wow.
right?
Yes.
Okay, great.
So-
23rd, we'll just.
We very well may have a
Yeah.
meeting, but if you know, if during the pendency of, in the next month, it's determined that it would be beneficial to hold it mostly virtual, we will be able to, you know, do that, and we'll research, you know, how best to do that. I think that it would be our preference to do it like we have now, practicing social distancing. We don't have 25 people in our chambers. We're able to manage that, but again, it just depends what everyone's comfortable with and what our abilities are to change with the circumstances.
true, and you gotta remember, I mean, Delray Beach is our building department. So, I mean, we have some ongoing applications right now, but new ones, I mean, they're not accepting any of that. And so, you know, we have to rely on them, you know, for our process, so we have to act accordingly. So,
Yeah, permits are gonna get piled up, I imagine.
well, I think, I mean, I think at least the business that we're doing and the people that we deal with understand what's going on and, are also acting accordingly and not, trying to force something on us.
The emergency ones, they're going to process.
AC changeouts, that sort of thing, you know, are still good. But,
Okay.
so, anyway,
It's like elective surgery that's being put up, yeah.
Yeah.
if you have any questions,
What about, can I ask about the pickleball? Is that gonna be in the April commission?
no, the pickleball has been withdrawn.
Okay. Second question is, we had, just a quick flyer of what Kerry Glickstein's thinking about doing on the property on the other side of the, north of Place au Soleil. Is it ever gonna come to us, or is that just gonna go to the town, the
Oh,
town
no, that
commissioners?
will come through ARPB.
Okay.
And so a couple of weeks ago, Trey and I are on the phone.
You don't wanna keep you here, Curtis. You all right?
No,
Okay.
we're done. I'll finish
Okay.
just a comment on Mr. Glickstein. We're on the phone with Mr. Glickstein and Rusty Coopy, right? On a Friday afternoon, we're getting ready to walk out, and they called, so, or no, I don't remember if they called us or we called them, but, so we were talking about it, and, I mean, because they've got a new design, and then all of a sudden, everything broke loose the next week. We were planning on meeting with them probably a couple of weeks ago. And so then we didn't hear from them all week. They were honoring our, you know, operations and how we're having to handle it. And quite frankly, Rusty Coopey's working from his house now, so, but I was on the phone with them yesterday, and so we're going to set up a meeting with Mr. Glickstein and Rusty, Reed and myself and Trey, and just do it by phone, because we have some questions about it, but right now, we're still trying to determine how we're gonna process that and move it forward.
Okay.
And it's a day-to-day thing,
Right.
changes, you know, almost every day.
All right, there's no public here. Anybody have anything else to bring for the meeting? We're adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hope to see you in a month.